right now on 5 on your side at 10.
A blame game in the wake of a violent holiday weekend in St. Louis.
The city has done everything we can do, but our hands are tied.
New reaction tonight to the mayor's call for stricter gun laws.
We're not going to continue to stand by and do nothing while St. Louis City continues to descend into chaos.
Tonight, a deluge of rain causing rivers to rise and forcing a late night for crews trying to keep water off the roads and out of your home.
That weather impact alert continues tonight as the remnants of Burl spin away from St. Louis, where the heavier rain is still falling right now, and if it impacts the Wednesday morning commutes.
And we start tonight with that weather impact alert. Several inches of rain has fallen over the last 24 hours, and it's still coming down in parts of the bi-state. Good evening. I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Kelly Jackson. We have live team coverage of the impact of the heavy rain. We start with Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell.
You know, we spread out that heavier rain, Kelly, throughout the day today, and that limited the impacts across the bi-state region. We still had nuisance problems with the water, and we've still had flight delays across the middle part of the country because of this system as it continues to lift out. This is the remnants of Burl lifting now over into Indiana. We're on the backside of this. We're still watching bands of showers as they drift down towards St. Louis tonight, but most of the rain is right along the Mississippi River and then on to the east. And the heaviest rain now has eased on to the northeast of St. Louis by a good stretch. Parts of Jersey, Greene, Macoupin, Montgomery counties here off to the northeast of St. Louis. We still have that flood advisory for about another half hour to hour, depending on where you are. But it's really about midnight when we think we're going to be done with this weather impact alert. The tropical rains are winding down, so less than 1/4 of an inch of additional accumulation. Some of us have seen 3 to 5 inches of rain, but you'll still need to go slow on the roads if you travel overnight. If you're heading out overnight, maybe you get off work in another hour or two. Look at the rainfall tallies over the last 48 hours, really concentrated here along the Merrimack River basin. And that means we're going to see some minor flooding along the Merrimack River as those levels jump up overnight into early tomorrow morning. Mid-60s for lows tonight. The rain coming to an end in St. Louis. And we'll be talking about heat and humidity building back our way as we head towards the weekend in just a few minutes, Kelly.
All right, see you then, Scott. And to get the latest forecast on rain, storms, flooding, and more, just text the word weather to 314-425-5355.
The heavy rainfall is impacting our rivers and storm sewer system. Both the Mississippi and Missouri rivers are on the high side in the St. Louis metro area. 5 on your side's Laura Barcheski is live outside the Metropolitan Sewer District's headquarters, where they have crews staying late. Laura.
Mike, this afternoon, MSD tells me that they only had about 40 calls and they weren't concerned about too many specific areas, but the rivers are a different story.
The constant rain Tuesday kept the Metropolitan St. Louis Sewer District busy.
The two big things we'll see there are blocked storm drains or inlets where debris gotten in there and is keeping the water from getting in. We'll clear those out. About half of the time, it's just a low-lying area in the street that doesn't have a drain where water's ponding.
Sean Stone with MSD Project Clear says compared to previous storms, they've had a relatively low number of calls.
There's quite a bit of water, but it's spread out over time, so the system can take that in and handle that amount of water. It's when we get a whole lot all at once and we run out of capacity in the system that you see more issues.
While the sewer system has been able to take it, both the Missouri and Mississippi rivers reached minor flood stage. Lieutenant Eric Kilmeyer with the U.S. Coast Guard says they've asked recreational boaters to stay off the Mississippi in the St. Louis metro area.
If you choose to not adhere to the recreational boating restriction, there will be agencies available to rescue you, but you're putting their lives in danger, and there's simply not enough people to rescue everybody on the river if everyone's going out there.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says the Missouri crested or reached the highest point for this event and is on the way down, and the Mississippi is on the way to cresting. Kilmeyer says the Mississippi River is moving faster than normal and taking a lot of debris downstream.
The amount of debris in the water is very hazardous, especially if you're in a small john boat or recreational fishing boat. And it's not just the debris that you see on the water, it's the submerged objects underneath the water that pose a significant danger as well.
If you see any significant storm drains clogged or anything clogged in your area, you can call MSD at 314-768-6260. And if you're a boater and you're going to head out on the water, make sure you check the Coast Guard's Facebook page. We'll have a link on KSDK.com. Reporting live in St. Louis, Laura Barcheski, 5 on your side.
And it was too much rain for The Little Mermaid at the St. Louis Muni. Tonight's show was canceled. Ticket holders can get a full refund or exchange for another performance. The Little Mermaid runs through July 16th.
Today's heavy rain fell as some in Jefferson County tried to clean up from yesterday's storm damage. The storms ripped down trees and flooded homes off Indian Spring Road and Valley Middle School. Nobody was injured or trapped by that flooding.
2 communities paying their respects today to an assistant fire chief who died in the line of duty. Firefighters and first responders lined a 100-mile procession from Columbia, Missouri, carrying the body of Boone County Assistant Fire Chief Matt Tobin to his hometown of Union. On Monday, Tobin and a Columbia firefighter worked to rescue 2 people trapped from a tree during flash flooding. Their boat overturned and Tobin never resurfaced. His fellow firefighters say Tobin was well credentialed and trained other firefighters to perform water rescues.
People want to pay tribute to a hero, and that's what Matt was. And he not only helped people here in Union for 19 years, people across the state of Missouri for 12, but across the country. And so if there was somebody that we were going to put on a boat to do that rescue yesterday morning, it was him.
Chief Tobin is survived by his wife, Jacqueline, and 13 and 9-year-old sons.
We're learning new details tonight about a convicted felon who escaped a prison transport in Warren County. Police still looking for Stephen Woodson tonight. Just hours ago, received new court documents revealing the prison transport stopped at a rest stop in Wright City after Woodson's colostomy bag ruptured. He escaped as officers removed restraints to clean him. Woodson was being transported from Nebraska to North Carolina to face charges for violation of a protection order and financial fraud.
New tonight, state lawmakers are reacting to crime in St. Louis and the mayor's calls for the state to toughen gun laws.
It follows ongoing crime concerns in the city, specifically downtown. Our Brent Solomon is live tonight with new reaction from several candidates running for governor. Brent.
Well, when it comes to making the city safer today, Mayor Tashara Jones renewed her calls for state lawmakers to make it tougher to get guns, especially for minors. Well, the other side is saying that's not fair to law-abiding gun owners.
From the 4th of July through Sunday, 24 people were shot in downtown St. Louis. Police seizing 39 guns during that same period.
Well, I think this calls more attention to what the state is not doing. And I'm not trying to pass the buck at all. But what I am saying is that the state created the conditions that we are currently living under. Everybody has access to a gun. And when everybody has access to a gun, that makes our communities less safe.
They're trying to blame firearms. They're trying to blame the police for these problems. It's the failed policies of a regime that just doesn't want to be tough on crime. The answer is we're going to start putting bad guys in jail.
Gubernatorial candidate Bill Eigel wants to triple the highway patrol presence along St. Louis highways.
Do you think there has been an opportunity, a unique opportunity for you, for other lawmakers, whomever, to have said, hey, why don't we do something now? Why don't we get state troopers or, something now to help instead of waiting until later?
Yeah, it's a great question. In fact, Governor Parson could interrupt this interview that we're having right now to do the very things that I'm talking about.
Challenger Jay Ashcroft is calling on the state to retake control of city police, vowing to hire 1,000 new police officers across the state if he becomes governor. Democratic challenger Crystal Quaid saying today, I have met with law enforcement countless times who have begged us to give them the tools they need. As governor, I'll make sure there is more funding for officers and work to allow local communities to pass common sense laws.
Can't be strong as a region or a state if the leaders in St. Louis City don't get their act together.
Our hands are tied because of our lax gun laws and the preemption laws that the state has already passed.
Tonight, Democratic candidate Mike Hammer said, quote, state officials should work with the city of St. Louis to support efforts to fight violent crime. I can tell you, during the violent holiday weekend, police made nearly 40 arrests. Live downtown, Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
A big step tonight in silencing celebratory gunfire in Missouri. Today, Governor Mike Parson signed a handful of bills into law, including Blair's Law. It calls for tougher penalties for people who fire guns during celebrations. The law is named after an 11-year-old Kansas City girl who was killed by a stray bullet over the 4th of July holiday in 2011. The governor also signed Valentine's Law, named after fallen St. Louis County Police Detective Antonio Valentine. He was killed in the line of duty in a head-on crash with a stolen car. It calls for stricter penalties for drivers who flee police. Governor Parson also signed changes to the juvenile code blocking parole for anyone under the age of 18 convicted of both first-degree and second-degree murder. The new law is not expected to impact yesterday's parole hearing for Alyssa Bustamante. The Cole County teen was 15 when she pleaded guilty to the 2009 killing of 9-year-old Elizabeth Olton.
Extra innings tonight for a community group trying to save youth baseball fields in Kirkwood. The city has paused demolition of the old Kirkwood Athletic Association site. The complex off Marshall Road fell into disrepair and financial hardship after flooding from the Merrimack River in 2019. City officials say they're allowing a citizen-led effort more time to come up with the plan to save the fields. Any unsalvageable structures will still be demolished. And you can now play some hoops at Forest Park. Today's rain forced a ribbon cutting indoors of the historic park's first ever basketball courts. There are 2 full courts, 2 half courts with lighting, a shade pavilion, and seating. Another formal dedication will take place Saturday.
St. Louis's only kosher grocery store is closed until further notice. That's according to the website for Cone's Kosher Meat and Deli, located near Olive and Lindbergh in St. Louis County. According to a letter from a kosher inspection service, the store closed last week amid numerous practical and legal issues. The service says it's hopeful of a resolution next week.
All eyes are on the gold.
Get really dialed in and, I don't know that every touch matters.
In their journey to Paris, the U.S. volleyball team is looking to keep history going. Actor Alec Baldwin on trial in the shooting of a cinematographer on set. How much time he faces if found guilty.
Standing water on some roads, especially now in our Illinois counties. We're still in that weather impact alert for a bit longer, and we're tracking the rain out of here and timing the return of heat and humidity to St. Louis.